create the mood. First one is by Arvo Pärt, who is the most performed contemporary classical composer. This is Yelena. It's a very minimalist piece that he invented this style when one of the melody and the accompaniments are moving together. And the second piece is my arrangement of Sting's song, which is Fields of Gold, and it's inspired by the first piece.
مرده بودم زنده شدم، گریه بودم خنده شدم، دولت عشق آمد و من دولت پاینده شدم. I was dead, I became alive. I was cry, I became laughter. The kingdom of love has arrived. Therefore, my kingdom is everlasting. دیده سیر است مرا، جان دلیر است مرا، زهره شیر است مرا، زهره تابنده شدم. گفت که دیوانه نی، لایق این خانه نی. رفتم و دیوانه شدم، سلسله بندنده شدم. My eyes are full. They don't need anymore. My soul is strong and brave. I am powerful as a lion and full of light like the stars. He told me, the beloved, in this case is Shams Tabriz, Rumi's beloved, the guru, the master. He says, Shams told me, you're not mad. You're not mad yet. You don't belong to this house. You cannot be here. Rumi answers, I went and turned myself to a madman. گفت که سرمست نی، رو که از این دست نی. رفتم و سرمست شدم و از طرب آکنده شدم. Rumi says, Shams told me, you're not. Your head is not drunk. You're not drunken. You're not one of us. Rumi takes the challenge and says, I went and became drunk and became the one in the state of ecstasy, became happy. So this is the beginning of Rumi's turbulent life. This is where Rumi starts. After long years of being a Muslim scholar, a cardinal, a priest, someone that would go somewhere and give a speech on religious matters in Sufism. We can imagine one like that, quite sober, a pious man, who would definitely not dance in the middle of the street or go play in the dust with the children. There's a meeting that happens when Rumi is 38 years old with Shams Tabriz, an unknown homeless man who would travel city to city, try to find someone who can handle the truth. Shams is in deep desire of finding a beloved, or a lover, to put it better, who would understand the precious gift Shams has to offer. And there they meet, based on the stories in Konya, where Rumi is the dean of the main university of town, a very well-known man. And as you know, 800 years ago, universities were all Islamic. They would teach you science as well. And we can find through Rumi's work that he was very well aware of sciences of his time, mathematics, physics, and so on. Shams invites Rumi to a gamble, to a change, to a transformation. The first one is Rumi describes himself as dead that became alive, as sad and cry that became laughter. گفت که تو کشته نی در طرب آغشته نی پیش رخ زنده کنش کشته و افکنده شدم گفت که تو زیرککی مست خیالی و شکی گول شدم هول شدم و از همه برکنده شدم. He told me, you're not dead, your ego still exists. You're not drowned in the ocean of joy. You're not drunk. Before his life-giving sight, I died. I humbled myself. I crushed. He told me that you are sharp and smart. Your drunkenness is not real. It is because of a doubt and a little discovery of your little brain. It doesn't belong to the heart. I went and became a fool, a madman. And I left everybody. This is what Rumi did after the meeting with Shams. He went to a long conversation that took days and nights. And imagine the dean of the university, the main speaker of the town, the man that the kings and the governors were going to him asking for questions and matters in religion and governing, suddenly disappears from the city and decides to spend time with this unknown homeless man who no one knows. Shams does not allow Rumi to meet with anybody. He stands at the door, and anyone who walks in first has to meet with Shams. If he's qualified, he can walk in. You would imagine how many enemies Shams gathers around himself. Former lovers of Rumi. They all hate Shams. گفت که تو شم شدی قبله این جمع شدی جمع نیم شم نیم دود پراکنده شدم. Shams tells Rumi, oh, you are a candle. We have one here. You became a candle. You are the place everyone look up to. You are the guru. Rumi says, I'm not a candle. I don't want anyone to see my light. I turn into the smoke that comes off the dying candle. گفت که شیخی و سری پیش رو راهبری شیخ نیم پیش نیم امر تو را بنده شدم. Shams tells Rumi, oh, you are a sheikh, you're a guru, you're the head of a tribe. All these people follow you. Rumi says, I'm not a sheikh. I don't want to be a guru. I want to be at your service. I want to take orders from you. I want to be your servant. گفت که با بال و پری من پر و بالت ندهم، در هوس بال و پرش بی پر و پرکنده شدم. Shams tells Rumi, you have your own wings, I will not give you mine. You cannot have the ones I have. You already claim that you can fly. In the desire and dream of his feathers and wings, I cut off mine. I lost my own. And this is very important. Rumi could see that this homeless man, this man that no one would naturally respect, can fly beyond the point that Rumi, with all his knowledge, cannot and would dream to have. گفت مرا عشق کهن از بر ما نقل مکن، گفتم آری نکنم، ساکن و باشنده شدم. Shams tells Rumi, so now that you accepted the challenge to leave everything behind, don't tell this ancient love story to anyone. Keep it as a secret. That's the promise that Shams asks Rumi to give. And that's why we see a lot of Shams names on Rumi's work, but we never hear the story of Shams and Rumi from this amazing storyteller, Rumi himself. I agreed, I accepted, I stayed in peace, I listened. So I'm going to, since we have limited time, I'm going to stop this particular poem here and go over some other material. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Shams and Rumi. And okay. You can hear me better? Okay. So I don't have to shout anymore. I would like to go over the time that Rumi lived in. I want to tell you a story about this magnificent man that after 800 years of his death gathers us all here in Los Angeles. It wasn't discovered at the time of Rumi. Nobody knew that such a great land exists. Although he predicted that he would be famous in the future, he predicted that his work will stay. When someone walked in, once he walked into a room of his friend's house and he noticed that one of Rumi's work of Masnavi is used as, I don't know how to put it, like instead of a pillow to rest your back, his friend's back in that room, he warns his friend, he says, remember, this is a holy book. If not equal, but similar to Quran itself. So Rumi knew as in his own work, Quran lasted on his time, he knew that his work would last for many centuries to come. He compares, as a matter of fact, his work to that. Rumi is born in today's Afghanistan, city of Balkh. Before, long time ago, there was no Afghanistan. It was a Persian empire ruled by the Khwarezm Shah dynasty, they were pretty strong. I actually printed a map of their time, and they actually ruled over Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, today's Iran, Turkmenistan, part of Azerbaijan. They were pretty strong. The king at the time wanted to conquer the Abbasid dynasty and take over the Muslim land that ruled the rest of the Middle East. That's when Genghis Khan comes to the picture. A year before Genghis Khan conquers Persia and destroys cities, kills millions, Rumi's father, a great Muslim scholar, a great Sufi himself, feels and fears. He takes his family away from the city of Balkh, one of the major cities that was later destroyed by the Mongols within the next few years. They go all the way to Nishabur. They meet Attar Nishaburi, who is a very famous Sufi. Attar predicts Rumi's future. He says, I see a river of wisdom coming, and behind the river is an ocean that would set fire on the lovers of the word. The river is Rumi's father, and the ocean is Rumi when he is only 10 years old. Rumi uses quite a bit of Attar's work later. Attar gifts the father his own work, and they move on, and eventually after Mecca, Medina, and Baghdad and other major cities, they go to Konya, invited by the king of Seljuk Empire at the time to start a school, a university. What I really want to mention is Rumi's heart, which is in Persia, of course, he was born and raised there, and his family is from there. And then later on, he goes to all these other major Muslim capitals and major cities. He hears the news of the destruction, because not only the Mongols conquered Khorasan and Persia, they later managed to conquer Baghdad. So two significant centers of his civilization were totally destroyed. And this is where Rumi lives at. This is what he feels, the responsibility to carry on such a great message of major civilizations are there, and everything is destroyed before his eyes. He hears the news. His own city stays untouched. But we barely ever find in Rumi's work any mourning of, oh, such a great empire is lost, such a great civilization is lost. Instead, his work is mostly and majorly expanding that same civilization's reach to love, where no one else behind him did such a magnificent work. Rumi understands his time. He's fortunate to meet Shams. And he goes beyond. He becomes drunk. Since right after Shams' disappearance, he's a little sad, but later on, he's ever drunk. He is dancing every day, the dervishes dance. A lot of his poems he created while he was dancing. That's why this rhythm exists. مرده بودم زنده شدم دولت عشق آمد و من دولت پاینده شدم دان 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 دان. You see, this is like with the rhythm of daf or other Sufi instruments. He's dancing and he's creating poetry, others are writing. And then, of course, I spoke about him becoming a major leader of the university in Konya. After his father died, before he's even 30 years old, he's a great speaker. He was raised and educated by the same father and the same noble family, he was ready to take on something his father started. Then he goes through other rigorous studies of Sufism, which is mostly fear-based. From the fear of the presence of God. It's not just fear. It's not the God, the police, but it humbles you because God exists so close to you. And then he goes from there, after meeting Shams, to expand on the love aspect of Sufism and completed such a work. I want to read a couple of verses on love from Rumi. عاشقی پیداست از زاری دل، نیست بیماری چو بیماری دل. علت عاشق ز علتها جداست، عشق اصطرلاب اسرار خداست. عاشقی گر زین سر و گر زان سر است، عاقبت ما را بدان سر رهبر است. There are signs of a lover. How would you notice somebody is in love? Somebody is a lover. In Rumi's terms, it is from the crying heart. If someone could see your heart and could see it crying, they would know you're a lover. There is no sickness. There's no other sickness in the world like the sickness of the heart. The sickness of the lover is separated, is exceptional to all other sicknesses. Love is a stroll up, is that complicated device, like the most complicated device they had at the time to see the stars and discover the maps, the Milky Way and all that is astrolabe. And at the time, and Rumi says this is that mysterious device to see the secrets of God through. Love or being in love, I would say that's better. Ashiqi means being in love, that state of being. Either from this way or that way. Maybe right or wrong. Eventually will take us to the destination. And this is a tricky part. So right or wrong, be in love. That's madness. Eventually, it will take us to the destination. I don't know if I have that particular verse that Rumi says, even if you fall in love in a totally wrong place, to a totally wrong person, but you stay truthful, you would be guided. And then Rumi says, right after that, I shall not say that. It may misguide many. هرچه گویم عشق را شرح و بیان چون به عشق آیم خجل باشم از آن گرچه تفسیر زبان روشنگر است لیک عشق بی زبان روشن‌تر است چون قلم اندر نوشتن می شتافت چون به عشق آمد قلم بر خود شکافت عقل در شرحش
چو خر در گل بخفت شرح عشق و عاشقی هم عشق گفت. آفتاب آمد دلیل آفتاب، گر دلیلت باید از وی رو متاب. However I try to explain love, however, from any direction that I try to enter this problem, as soon as I get to love, I am ashamed of myself. I find no words, no way of explaining it. And this is what Rumi says. He is perhaps the best master who could tell us about this. Although the explanation of the tongue of the wise man is most clarifying, can enlighten others. We go listen to speakers to learn. And although the tongue is so powerful and enlightening, yet love is more clear and more enlightening without a tongue, in silence. In that moment that the pen was riding on its own, in the state that the rider is in ecstasy and pen just goes on its own. As soon as it comes to love, that same pen breaks into itself. The brain, this powerful brain, in the explanation of love, would be like a donkey in the mirror, stuck. We need a tractor to take it out. We need to tow him out. The brain, this is a strong logical tool. The story of love and lover has been told by love itself. So I'm going to summarize what I understand from these few verses. I think this is where Rumi really tries hard from every angle to find a definition for love. First, he talks about himself. He says, however I try to explain it, I'm totally ashamed. Then he goes and says, although speakers are so good in teaching us and enlightening us, but they shall not be able to speak the truth about love because it's more clear without any words. Words don't have the power, the extension. They don't have all the meaning to explain it. So if you came here to listen to me and learn anything about love, I'm sorry. Rumi already said no. And then he says that pen in a state of ecstasy, like we can imagine some of the best writers that write all the love stories. And we go read, try to live those characters and be them and then feel it and all that. Rumi says, the holy pen in the state of ecstasy of that magnificent writer, when it comes to love, because that pen knows the truth, would break into itself, doesn't want to go further, doesn't want to finish that word. Because that pen knows. And then he comes to the philosophers. They use the tool of logic, the brain. And they are like the donkey in the mirror. Because they try hard to explain. The work of the brain is to explain. It's the main purpose. to see, observe, and explain what this is. And Rumi says that would be one of the worst places for you to go to find about love. And then he claims that to know about love, you can only be in love. You have to listen to that story from the love itself. شرح عشق عاشقی هم عشق گفت. آفتاب آمد دلیل آفتاب گر دلیلت باید از وی رو متاب. Then Rumi says, if you're looking for a reason in the realm of love, as clear as it is that during the day the sun is out, that is the reason that the sun is out. If you turn your back to sun and go to darkness and trying to find the reason why there is sun, if there is a sun up there, he's speaking to people who live with a doubt. He says, don't turn your back, at least turn around and observe. Love is as powerful, as enlightening, as warming as sun. داند آن کو نیک بخت عالم است زیرکی ز ابلیس و عشق آن آدم است. So going back to complete this definition, what I find is Rumi wants us to experience. It's okay to search, but the only way to really know it is to experience, to be in that state of being that a lover experience, to burn, to long, to fill with your whole existence. And another place he says, well, all for any lover, even the one who fall in love to the false place, it is still good because so many problems they have will be concentrated to one. And we all know in concentration, we'll do better. And here he says, the one who is the happiest on earth knows that being smart and sharp, which we all want to be, that smartness, that sharpness, belongs to Satan, and love belongs to human being. I mean, I just read this verse today again, and I thought, oh my God, this is the place to tell myself, because I was like, we all are trying to be very smart, no? To be sharper, you know, and go. And he says clearly, you get into that realm. There's always someone smarter than you, and eventually Satan himself is the master of all. And then love is where we were called to be. There's 4 verses that I would like to read. These are not Rumi's verses, but they are pretty good in explaining different levels of Sufism, of where we stand. And it would explain a little bit better the story of Rumi and Shams to us. آن کس که بداند و بداند که بداند اسب شرف از گنبد گردون بجهاند. آن کس که بداند و نداند آن کس که بداند و نداند که بداند بیدارش نمایید که بس خفته نماند. آن کس که نداند و بداند که نداند لنگان خرک خویش به منزل برساند. آن کس که نداند و نداند که نداند در جهل مرکب ابد و دهر بماند. This is a good tricky poem for our brain to enjoy this realm of putting people in level, you know. That's not what Rumi likes to do, but it's cool. I like the categorization here. He says, the one who knows and knows that he knows, or you can say she. I have to explain why it is so hard to translate Rumi from Farsi to English. Many of you who are bilingual, you understand that I'm skipping. I'm trying to transfer the meaning as much as I understand. The very first problem that exists for the translation is Farsi does not have a gender. There's no he or she. So I can say he who knows, or I can say she who knows. Or sometimes I can say God who knows. And they all may fall in the same category. That's why people, religious, unreligious, everyone could read and have their own take on the poem. There's too many directions. I would say he so we can go forward, or we say the one. The one who knows and knows he knows would fly on his graceful horse from the skies on heaven. The one who knows and does not know that he knows, wake him up so he would not stay asleep any longer. The one who does not know but he knows that he does not know will take his limping donkey to the destination. This is pretty good. He will take his limping donkey to the destination. The one who does not know and does not know he does not know, he shall be in the composite state of ignorance for the rest of his life until eternity. Don't try to wake him up. Don't waste your time. The first group, not even try. No, we get there too. It was a story I would like to read later that expands on the fourth grade. So the first group are like Shams, the guru that woke Rumi up from asleep. Rumi had all the knowledge inside. It was not what Shams gave to Rumi. Rumi discovers it later himself. Because when Shams disappears, some people think he was killed, some people think he just left. Because nothing remains from him. He just opens the door and vanishes. In the same room where Rumi was. Rumi goes to mourning because he loved Shams. It was the only company Rumi had in his life that could be so transforming. The only teacher. And Rumi later on discovers that, oh, whatever I say is your words. You live within me. He tells Shams, why should I mourn for you anymore? You are inside me. These words are not mine, these are yours. So I see that way that Shams woke Rumi up. Rumi already knew, but he didn't know that he knew. He had this eternal knowledge in him. Somebody like Shams was needed to kick him, to wake him up, to shake him. And you know, before this meeting, Rumi never composed any poetry. This is after the experience, and after he experienced the longing of Shams going away, that he starts composing. A lot of those poems were for Shams, intended for Shams, and it goes on and on. So the second level are the ones who they know but they don't know they know. Someone should wake them up. The third level are the followers, the ones that don't know, but they're so clear, they're at least truthful to the fact that they don't know. They're looking up to find the answer. They keep going. They have a limping donkey. It's not like a graceful horse that can fly to heaven, which the first level carriage is. The third level is the one that has a limping donkey. It's not that fast. It doesn't know quite. But they can ask. They go find the answer. And because they keep asking, even on that limping donkey, they finally resolve to get to the destination. They have a beautiful ending. They get where they should get. And the last ones, they don't know, but they claim they know everything. So what can you tell them? And they stay, this poem says, they stay in the state for eternity. At this point, I would like to ask our musicians to play for us.
So we have two more pieces. The first one is for saxophone and piano, and when I was asked to contribute a little bit, I was at the LA Phil concert, and that night I had just heard my friend Chica perform. We rehearsed a little bit, and I wrote this piece based on a poem that I read. I didn't know much about Rumi, so I just read this poem on the internet and said, okay, it's going to be, the beat is going to be 60, which is once per second, and it turned out afterwards that that's what it was. I didn't decide that what was going to be, but basically it is called This We Have Now. This we have now is not imagination. This is not grief or joy, not a judging state or an elation or sadness. Those come and go. This is the presence that doesn't.
So you may be wondering what this instrument is. It's a soprano saxophone. And we chose it because what better words to end tonight than this. So it's actually written for soprano and trumpet, but we're going to do a special version tonight with soprano sax and soprano bass.
Looks like we don't have that much time. I'm going to read a short story. عیسی مریم به کوهی می گریخت، شیرگویی خون او می خواست ریخت. آن یکی در پی دوید و گفت خیر، در پیت کس نیست، چو ریزی چو تیر. با شتاب او آنچنان می تاخت جفت، کس شتاب خود جواب او نگفت. Jesus of Mary, Jesus the son of Mary, was escaping like running fast. It seemed like a lion was after him. One of his disciples looked at Jesus and said, "What's going on?" Started shouting, "Oh, Master, Master, no one is behind you. Why are you running? Why are you running like a flying bird so fast?" And Jesus was so fast, so quick, so speedy that didn't have time to answer the disciple. یک دو میدان در پی عیسی براند، پس به جد عیسی را بخواند، که از پی مرضات حق یک لحظه بیست، که مرا اندر گریزت مشکلی است. از که این سو می گریزی ای کریم، نه پیت شیر و نه خسب و خوف و بیم. So after running behind Jesus for a block or two, his disciple shouts and swears Jesus on God, on Lord. "Please stop. I have a problem with your escape. I don't get it. Who are you escaping from? There's no lion, there's no enemy, and there's no fear anywhere, anyway, you're fearless." گفت از احمق گریزانم. گفت از احمق گریزانم، برو میرهانم خیش را، بندم مشو. Jesus replies, "I'm escaping the fool. Please go. I'm liberating myself. Don't enchain me here." گفت آخر آن مسیحا نی تویی، که شود کور و کرست و مستوی؟ گفت آری. گفت آن شه نیستی، که فسون غیب را مأویستی؟ چون بخوانی آن فسون بر مرده ای، بر جهد چون شیر صید آورده ای. So the disciple keeps questioning. The problem is not solved yet. So aren't you that Messiah? That you can cure the blind and the deaf? Aren't you that Lord that you know the secrets of the afterworld? When you read that particular name of God on a dead, it will become alive. گفت آریان منم. گفتا که تو نیز گل مرغان کنی ای خوب رو. گفت آری. گفت پس ای روح پاک، هر چه خواهی میکنی، از کیست باک؟ So Jesus says, yes, I am. And then he says, aren't you the one who made, with mud, made some birds and gave them souls so they could fly? You do all this. And Jesus says, yes, I am. Yes, I do. So I'm asking you, you can do whatever you want. Who are you fearing? Why even fear? با چنین برهان که باشد در جهان، که نباشد مر تو را از بندگان. You have such a great reasoning. All these miracles are your reasons of greatness. How can someone not be your servant? گفت عیسی که به ذات پاک حق، مبدأ تن، خالق جان در سبق. حرمت ذات و صفات پاک او که بود گردون گریبان چاک او کان فسون و اسم اعظم را که من بر کر و بر کور خواندم شد حسن بر کوه سنگین بخواندم شد شکافت خرقه را بدرید بر خود تا به ناف بر تن مرده بخواندم گشت حی بر سر لاشی بخواندم گشت شی خواندم آن را بر دل احمق به ود 100,000 بار و درمانی نشد خواندم آن را بر دل احمق به ود 100,000 بار و درمانی نشد. So Jesus goes and starts swearing himself to the Lord, to that great Lord that I tell you that yes, that particular mysterious name of God, that powerful name that I used on the deaf and the blind and I cured them, that I spelled on the huge mountain and it broke into pieces, it disappeared. I said it to the dead and it became alive. I used that same word, that same powerful mystical word to the heart of the fool, aiming at the heart of the fool 100,000 times, and there was no cure. سنگ خارا گشت و زان خو بر نگشت ریک شد کز وی نروید هیچ کشت. It became like one of those rocks that nothing would grow on it. The heart of the fool. And I think this is a place that is an indication that Rumi actually had read Bible. Because there's a place Jesus speaks about, he's throwing the seeds and depending on the soil, it may grow or not. گفت حکمت چیست کانجا اسم حق سود کرد اینجا نبود آن را سبب آن همان رنج است و این رنجی چرا او نشد این را و آن را شد دوا. So the disciple asked Jesus, what is the wisdom behind it? That over there on the blind and the deaf, this magnificent name of God worked. That is a pain and this is a pain. Foolishness is a pain and the blindness is a pain. It cured that and did not cure this. گفت رنج احمقی قهر خداست رنج و کوری نیست قهر آن ابتلاست ابتلا رنجیست کان رحم آورد احمقی رنجیست کان زخم آورد آنچه داغ اوست مهرو کرده است چاره‌ای بر وی نیارد برد دست. So this is the Jesus answer. It's quite mysterious and thank God I don't have enough time to elaborate on it. So Jesus answers that the pain of the foolishness, like that sickness that the foolish has, is the anger of God, is the separation from God. It has two different ways of explaining. And the blindness and the deafness is not that kind of a pain. It's not that separation. It's not that anger. It is just a sickness, curable. For that kind of a sickness like the blind has, it brings out your compassion. But that kind of a sickness that the fool has, it will bleed you, it will cut you, it will harm you. And whatever that the Almighty, that the God has sealed is His own work and no one else can touch. زحمقان بگریز چون عیسی گریخت صحبت احمق بسی خونها که ریخت. And then Rumi now is giving us his own words. He says, to conclude the story, escape the fool, just like Jesus did. Escape the fool, just like Jesus did. The company, the conversation with the fool has shed so much blood in the history. اندک اندک آب را دزدد هوا دین چنین دزدد هم احمق از شما. So the same way that you put some water out and slowly it evaporates. So Rumi says that same way that the air steals water from you. The same way the fool would steal your religion. And religion needs to be explained. It's a larger concept in Rumi's work. We don't have time for it. But to put it very correct, he begins his work at the preface that this Masnavi is the foundation of the foundation of the foundation of religion. I just want to go back to it because this word is quite political. گرمیت را دزدد و سردی دهد همچون کو زین کن سنگین هد. آن گریزی سین از بیم بود ایمن است او آن پی تعلیم بود. زمهریر ار پر کند آفاق را چه غمان خورشید با اشراق را. So the final verses is Rumi tries to explain to us what the fool does because it's very hard to diagnose. It's not as easy that we think. It says one of the things it does, the same way the water evaporates, it's quite unnoticed. You may think you have some water, but it's gone. The same way the fool would steal, would rob you from your warmth and leave you cold. So to understand what the fool is, you have to understand your relationships. If you're full of passion and joy and love and happy and warmth and in a company of someone, slowly you start losing it all. Instead, you become the word of maybe reason instead of being the work of heart. It's both ways pretty from the outside, but the work of heart is deeper, is the real work. And the fool can take you away from that warmth that makes us happy. I think the fundamental part of Rumi's teaching is happiness. And happiness is where the heart is where you feel warm, together, connected, not separated. And then Rumi says, and the escape of Jesus was not because of fear. He had no fear. He is safe. It was just to teach us a lesson. Even if the whole entire world becomes ice, the whole entire universe becomes ice, the sun will not be affected, just like Jesus, who was the sun. Thank you.